Welcome to a continued series of aviation weather safety presentations. Today we focus on the December 1st, 2006 case study, which was unfortunately a two-fatality accident in Crookston, Minnesota. And shown below is the picture of the Cessna that was involved in the aircraft accident outside of Crookston, Minnesota, and that is courtesy of the Grand Forks Herald. The Aviation Weather Safety Series is a cooperative effort with the National Weather Service in Bismarck and also the FAA Safety Team. If you have not been to the FAAsafety.gov website or have not signed up, we strongly encourage you to do so. Please go to www.faasafety.gov and please become a member. Your North Dakota FAA Safety Team managers are Jeffrey Bowe and Jay Flowers, and please feel free to email them with any questions you may have. Okay, we're going to hop into the event, which remember was from December 1st, 2006, involving a 1971 Cessna 172. The pilot had a private single-engine land certificate with 102.5 hours of flight experience, and the passenger did hold a student pilot certificate. The aircraft did depart from the KCKN Crookston, Minnesota Airport at approximately 18:15 local standard time, and Crookston, for those who are not familiar, is about 30 or 40 miles east of Grand Forks, KGFK. A standard briefing was received at 16:02 local standard time, and witnesses do say that the aircraft was pulled from the hangar at approximately 1800 local standard time and then departed the field at 18:15 local standard time with no flight plan filed. The pilot did contact Princeton Flight Service Station at about 16:02 local standard time for a standard briefing for a local flight in the KCKN area. The briefer informed the caller of an approaching frontal boundary, scattered snow showers. Grand Forks TAF was calling for ceilings of 6,000 feet broken for an hour, followed by 4,000 feet overcast with areas of light snow. Forecast was expected to run through the night and that visibilities were to remain 7 miles or better. The area forecast for northwest Minnesota called for 1,500 feet scattered clouds, 5,000 foot broken ceilings, and occasional visibilities of 5 miles in snow. Within the approximate 2-hour window between the weather briefing and the takeoff, remember the briefing was at about 1600 local standard time, takeoff 18:15 local standard time. Between that 2-hour window, the weather was deviating from the forecast. A narrow band of moderate to heavy snow was developing along the front near KGFK Grand Forks at approximately 17:30 local standard time, and unfortunately approached the KCKN airport between 18 and 18:30 local standard time. At 17:39, the Grand Forks TAF was updated to include IFR conditions and snow. And we see here are the 1600 local standard time and the 1900 local standard time weather depiction charts. So we'll focus on the top one first, which is at 1600 local standard time, which is at the briefing time. We do see that cold front from far northwest Minnesota arcing back across North Dakota. Generally VFR conditions with some MVFR and snow in the vicinity of northwest Minnesota, but that is north of the KCKN airport. Worse conditions are across western North Dakota and eastern Montana in the hatched area. If we look at the 1900 local standard time weather depiction chart, which is unfortunately just after the crash, we see now that that front has pushed into the KCKN area, and now we have widespread MVFR to IFR conditions in snow. Here's the 1558 radar during the time of the weather briefing, and as we can see, light returns across much of the area, widespread flurries with the heavier snow, maybe up to moderate, west of Grand Forks, with the star being Crookston. We see Grand Forks a little bit off to the northwest, and the heavier snow off towards the Binford and Cooperstown area west of Grand Forks and Crookston. We move to a 1740 local standard time, and that's the Grand Forks TAF update for IFR conditions, and we see that moderate to heavy snow has neared Grand Forks and the Crookston airfields. And then if we go to 1757 local standard time radar image, now this is when the plane was being moved from the hangar and at about 1800 and departed at 18:15. We see that moderate to heavy snow is beginning to envelop the Crookston Airport. There's still time for go, no-go decision. The aircraft is pulled from the hangar, but you can just pull it and put it right back in. There's still plenty of time for a go, no-go decision. But as we can see, moderate to heavy snow beginning to envelop the Crookston Airport as the plane is removed from the hangar. And 1815 radar image, this is just prior to takeoff. Unfortunately, the aircraft would crash minutes later as VFR pilot loses control due to flight into instrument meteorological conditions. And we see heavy snow with IFR to LFR conditions are continuing to envelop the Crookston Airport and the surrounding area. So what was the situational awareness of the pilot to this change, given the 2-hour lag between briefing and takeoff? Was the last check of the radar and local TAFs made before preparing the aircraft? Were the trends in the METARs being monitored? And we'll go through that trend. 17:35, 25 minutes prior to taking the aircraft out of the hangar, we're at 4-mile visibility. Light snow scattered at 1500, broken 1900 AGL. So we are getting toward the lower ends of VFR, what we call marginal VFR. 17:55, 5 minutes prior to taking the aircraft out, 10 miles, light snow, basically just flurries, scattered clouds at 1000 and broken at 2200, overcast 2600. So still MVFR, still VFR, but our margin of error, if those clouds were to lower, is getting thinner and thinner. 1815, this is at takeoff. We're at 5 miles and light snow, scattered 1300, broken 1900. So once again, we're taking off into marginal VFR conditions with light snow falling. And at 1835, we have 1 mile visibility in snow, and now we're overcast at 200 AGL. So we're at LIFR conditions. So 25 minutes prior to the aircraft leaving the hangar, we had MVFR conditions, 4 miles in snow. We're nearing IFR. 20 minutes prior to the aircraft being pulled from the hangar, which it was 35 minutes prior to takeoff, the Grand Forks TAF was updated for IFR conditions, which would probably be the TAF that would be used to represent the KCKN area. 5 minutes prior to the aircraft being pulled from the hangar, or 20 minutes prior to takeoff. We're still reporting 10 miles in flurries, so our visibilities have come up, but we have scattered clouds at 1,000 feet. We're really close to IFR thresholds. At takeoff, visibility drops back to 5 miles, and between that takeoff and the 20 minutes after takeoff, we have LIFR conditions developing from departure to departure plus 20 minutes. So taking off into LIFR conditions, so a VFR pilot taking off into instrument meteorological conditions. So what to take away from this real tragedy and unfortunate loss of life from this accident is that the weather forecast, as we all know, can and will change. Often pre-flight briefings are obtained hours before takeoff, and weather may change significantly between the briefing time and departure, especially when fronts are approaching or precipitation is in the area. And you may not be aware of what changes are going on as you're going through the remainder of your pre-flight routine. So we want to maintain our situational awareness. Take the time before you even start the pre-flight check to take one last look at the weather, the latest radar trends, the latest TAFs and METARs, your departure and your arrival airport, any new airmets or SIGMETs. What has changed since your briefing? Smartphones, in-cockpit displays make this potential life-saving final check so simple. So make the decision. Make the go, no-go decision based on this latest weather information. Am I still legal to fly? If I am still legal to fly, is the weather still above my personal minimums I have set for myself? It may be VFR conditions, but if the visibility is only 4 miles or 5 miles in snow, do I really want to take off? If in doubt, stay on the ground, get an updated weather briefing, delay or cancel the flight. Once again, we thank you for your participation in this Aviation Weather Safety Series, which again is a cooperative effort with the National Weather Service in Bismarck and the FAA Safety Team. My name is Patrick Ide. I am a meteorologist with the National Weather Service in Bismarck and also an FAA Safety Team representative. And my email is on the screen if you have any questions. Thank you for watching.